Shapiro, what's up?
What's up, man?
No
Bonds.
cut.
Bonds
Fuck,
are
I
up.
love it. I told you, man. Long bonds.
Yeah, I was wait, hold on one second. I was sort of pounding the table in the last couple of weeks about this idea because I hear it all day, every day, of people saying that the market was ahead of the Fed when it comes to cutting rates. That was the single most consensus thing that I heard out there. And not that that means that it's necessarily wrong and that I didn't even disagree with it, right? But that what does that mean in terms of trying to make money off of it? Now, if you think, I would tell me if I'm wrong here, but if you think that the market is ahead of the Fed and they think that there's going to be more rate cuts than there's actually going to be, then you would want to short fixed income, wouldn't you? If that's what you thought.
Short the yield.
No, you'd want to short the bonds, right? If you think that the market is ahead of the Fed, that the Fed is going to cut less than people think, then wouldn't you want to short bonds?
No, I'd be short the yield, long the price
Why?
on the bonds.
Why? You're telling me
Because
that?
because I think as an individual area, I think those yields just can't sustain at 5%. What, like 5% on the 12 month? We were almost 5% on the 10-year. And look, I mean, I have technical reasons why I've been talking about this long in the 2024 macro look ahead video I did, and why I talked about it with you. I think I have technical pure play reasons, and I'm 80% technical, 20% fundamental.
All right, but
Whereas,
forgetting about your view on
but
bonds for a second, okay?
right, okay,
If I
yeah, yeah,
tell you
yeah.
that
But
the
I'm about to
market
tell
thinks
you,
there's going to be 6 to 7 rate cuts, right? That's what's priced into the market, 6 to 7 rate cuts. But it's
mm,
actually going to be 4 rate cuts, and they're not going to start anytime soon. Then to me, you would want to be short bonds. If that were your fundamental view,
why,
if you,
why?
well, because they've priced in 7 rate cuts, and there's actually only going to be 4.
Yeah,
Therefore,
but
therefore, bonds are overpriced.
are you taking into account the unsustainable yield level that the whole bond strip's been at?
I'm not taking into account anything other than the fact that if you're telling me that the market is pricing in 6 to 7 rate cuts, and in fact there's going to be a lot less than that. That's it. Just based on those two facts, then isn't the trade to short bonds? You're
I don't
telling me
think
that the
so.
market has. You're telling me the market. It's like saying a stock has priced in $50 of earnings, but it's only going to be $30 of earnings. Then when you
Right,
want,
I
then
understand.
when you short that stock,
No, because if you the market is overpriced, as you said, it's pricing in 50 and it's coming out 30 or whatever. It's priced in 7 cuts and it's going to be 6, maybe even 5. That to me is a risk off situation. And in a traditionally risk off situation, you want to be long price on bonds, short yields.
all right, but you're putting you into it. I'm saying if I get on TV, okay, I get on TV and people say to me, "What's your view?" And I say, "My view is the market has gotten way ahead of itself in fixed income, okay?
Yeah.
And they're pricing in way too
What,
many rate
what
cuts." What is that implying I'm saying in terms of do I want to be long or short bonds? Forget you and your trading. What is that implying I'm saying? Am I saying the market has priced in too many rate cuts, therefore I want to be long bonds? No.
well, if you're long bonds, you're short the yields.
I understand that. But you're telling me the market has already priced in too much short yield. It's already priced in the yield going down too much. That's what you're
Right.
telling me.
And here's where we meet is that the yields the yields weren't tight enough. They were massively open. Like at almost 5, we almost hit 5%. Maybe we did at one point on the 10-year. That yield had to compress. This is what I said. This is why I was looking for this trade. Unfortunately, I didn't take it because it was a lot more complex than I thought it was going to be. Because there was we need to tighten on those yields.
All right, again,
If the
talking to
market
me as
but hold
somebody.
on, but if the market is overpricing the pudding, that means that it's going to have to wake up at one point, which means, you know what? The yield is going to crush. Let's crush the yield ourselves. Let's get in here because at some point these bonds are going to need to price in the overpricing that equities has done, and that means that equities are going to cool off and reprice down. And meanwhile, everyone's going to run in and buy more bonds on the risk scenario. That's for me, and that's traditionally what I've traded and been taught. But I don't get your reasoning for that we had to increase in yields.
My reasoning is not that we had to increase in yields. What I'm saying is what I've been hearing is reasoning that we have to increase in yields because they priced in too many cuts. Like I say, if you're telling me this stock is priced in $50 of earnings and it's going to be less than $50 in earnings, you want to short that stock, yes?
Absolutely.
So if you're telling me they've priced in too many rate cuts, let's call that the earnings, and there's going to be less than that many rate cuts, let's call that the $30 in earnings, then
Right.
that implies to me you want to be short bonds. I'm not saying it's the right trade. I'm not saying I'll get to that in a second. But to me, that implies you want to be short bonds.
Why?
Because you're saying they've priced in too many cuts.
On equities they have.
I'm not talking about equities. I'm talking about bonds. You're telling me they priced in too many cuts in the bond market, and we're going to get less than that many cuts. That's like saying they've priced in too much earnings in a stock, and you're going to get less than that earnings. To me, it's the same logic. So if you're telling me that they've priced in too many rate cuts, and we're going to get less than that, you're implying to me you're saying short bonds. I'm not saying what you think as a trader and what you've learned, okay? I'm saying if somebody is on the television telling me that they're pricing in too many rate cuts and there's going to be less than that, then what you are telling me is you want to be short bonds.
Okay.
I just don't see how that's not what you're saying, not you. What somebody is saying, if they're telling me that the market has priced in too many cuts, then on the surface, you're telling me to be short bonds. That's what I think. And my point here, despite your disagreement, my point here is that if that's what they're saying, then look what happened. They got exactly what they wanted yesterday. The Fed said, yes, the market is pricing in too many cuts, right? And meanwhile, bonds have gone straight up since, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I have no issue with that. But my point being, you could have been 100% right going in, counting the table, saying the Fed's not going to cut as quickly as everybody is pricing in. And you were 100% right on that, but 100% wrong on the price action. That's the point, but the argument I'm trying to develop here. You're fighting it, but that's how I've seen it, right? I've saw bonds as a buy either way because I felt that people were just way too much on this train of they're pricing in too many rate cuts. And while they were right about that, they were wrong about what the price would do. That's my argument. Now you're telling me they weren't wrong about what the price would do, but I still think that's the implication. The implication to they're pricing in too many cuts to me is that you sell bonds. And the market actually did the opposite of that. They got the news that they were pricing in too much, and the bonds went straight the fuck up. Now we could argue that's partially because of banks.
But you're saying that the price, like the price would, the yield would have increased on the bonds had it. Had to price in higher for longer. Less cuts to be priced in. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. If they've priced in too many cuts, and if there's not that many cuts, they have to reprice in less cuts, right?
Yeah, but I'm not getting the correlation on the increase in the yield. Because we had
forget about what the market did, and forget about what you think the market should do. Forget about that for a second. Get that out of your mind, okay? Done. If I tell you the market is pricing in mathematically 7 rate cuts, and I'm telling you I've seen the newspaper from December of the end of the year, and there's only going to be 3. Doesn't that mean the market has to reprice in from 7 to 3? And doesn't that mean that bonds have to go down? Put your opinions out of there and put your skills as a trader out of there, okay? If I tell you that they're pricing in 7 cuts and there's only going to be 3, does that not mean that bonds should go down to reprice in from 7 to 3? Okay,
I don't know. Does it?
I would think that it means that. I would think that that's what that implies. But let me put it this way: if 10-year rates are at 4% right now, and I tell you for a fact that on December 31st, the 10-year rates are going to be at 6%, then what are bonds going to do?
They're gonna crush to the downside between now and December 31st.
Correct.
Short the bonds.
Correct. So if I'm telling you the market has priced in it's the same logic. If I'm telling you the market has priced in too many rate cuts and they're not coming, which we just said, right?
Yeah, but sure, but I think that 6, 7, 5 cuts. I just think that the bond. Well, look, you're not asking my personal opinion, but yeah, it makes sense what you're saying. A to B to see. I get what you're saying, but for me, well, personally, that wouldn't be a trade. You know,
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
these
but
these these bonds were
I'm
so.
not talking about you. I'm talking about some fucking guy gets on TV and tells me that bonds have priced in too many rate cuts. Then is he saying buy bonds or sell bonds? A stock has priced in way too much earnings. Am I saying buy the stock or sell the stock?
Was saying sell it.
Okay. The bond market has priced in way too many rate cuts. Am I saying buy bonds or sell bonds?
Sell them.
Okay. That's all I'm trying to say. Now we can talk about you and me and what we think. Okay. But to me, those people were implying bonds are a sale. All right. And what happened was they got it totally fucking right. Okay. Bonds believed that there were too many rate cuts coming in, and bonds ended up going straight up anyway. Now we can talk about why that is. Okay. And you can talk about your view and my view and why that is. My view is going to be specifically one thing was that everybody was coming on TV all day for the last 3 weeks and saying it. Bonds
I
are
didn't
priced.
even watch TV during market hours, man.
Okay, but I'm just telling you what I saw, right? It was everybody saying that.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me just clear all of this up. You know what the problem is?
Tell
Is
me.
that those people on television, they smoke the crack pipe.
Well, bingo. This is my whole point. Okay. This is my whole point. Okay. My whole point going into this was it doesn't
They're
matter.
they're all having a kumbaya around a big crack cocaine pipe every day.
Okay, but this is my point. That's my point. Is don't trade fade, right? You
Oh
could
man,
have
yeah.
you could have believed in that argument that they're pricing in too many rate cuts and therefore bonds are a sale, and you would have gotten it 100% right, and you would have lost a shitload of money.
Oh yeah, you would have gotten run over, man.
That's
Sure.
the only point that I'm trying to make here.
Who
And
the
now
hell is short?
into why that is, and we can make our arguments, but my argument is going to start with the fact that everyone fucking believed it coming in, so therefore they got burned.
Like, I'm going to share a chart here for a sec. This is an all-time chart. This one's just go back to it's like 2018. All right, doesn't really matter. All right, doesn't really matter. You're telling me you want to short here on this chart? You want to short here on the bottom right, like where that's there.
I'm
Okay.
not saying I want to short. I'm saying I
no,
want to long.
but
I'm saying they want to short.
I mean, I think a lot of people paid attention to this technical setup once Bill Ackman said he was, what did he say? He was short, I think, I don't know, was it somewhere around here, right? And then lo and behold, when we came in here, he was like, I'm long the bonds. And I mean, he's just looking at, well, this chart and obviously a lot of other stuff. But yeah, I mean, who the hell's shorting this thing down here? I mean, you know, you're waiting. I don't know what you're waiting to happen for, but you know, yeah. I personally, I don't get it. I don't understand that. I mean, what are you watching CNBC all the time?
I have it on. I listen. You know, I'm always looking for consensus. That's where I find consensus. And the point was the biggest consensus that I've heard in the last 2 weeks was that argument. I heard it. You could turn on any show from Wall Street Week to Maria Bartiromo's Wall Street. Every single person. I was saying it to my wife before they said it. I go, watch, honey. And she doesn't even know the first fucking thing about what a bond is, right? She actually was asking me yesterday something. She's like, what's it mean if you're bearish? I mean, you just want to. She's like, it just means you want to hold on to stuff and go in your cave and hold on to stuff. Is that what bearish is? I'm like, no, bearish means that it goes down and bullish means it goes up. So that's her knowledge of the market. But I would say to her, I go, watch. I was watching Wall Street Week this week, and I go, watch. This guy right here is going to say the market has priced in too many rate cuts. I go, I know you don't understand what that means. It doesn't matter. Watch. And within 15 seconds, it's exactly what she said. Word for word. The market has priced in too many rate cuts because that's what every single person without fail was saying for 2 weeks on TV, right? Without fail. It was the single most consensus thing. And this is what I do, right? I look for where consensus is. It was a single
So
most
why
consensus
why
thing.
are you long the bonds, man? You should be balls deep long this then. I mean, obviously your positioning probably doesn't, the COT probably doesn't show that.
Yeah, that's it.
I'd say it's pretty neutral, was it?
Yeah, pretty neutral.
I mean, I love this conversation. Just because I don't really understand why people would be thinking that if equities are on a freight train to the upside, a Santa-driven freight train to the upside, and the Magnificent Seven, whatever reasons you want to talk about for why it's up there, but you do have this huge disparity between the Magnificent Seven stocks, your Nvidias, blah, 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 and then the rest of the S&P, which is just like in the dust compared. All right. And then we're rallying, aggressive animal spirits markets, highs, new all-time highs on the S&P. And how were we going to have 6 to 7 rate cuts, like, at every cut at every meeting when there's no emergency? Aliens haven't landed.
No, I never argue. Again, I never argued. And in fact,
I know I'm
on
giving
the
out
video
about
that I
these
did.
crack smoking assholes who were talking about rate cuts in, what was it, in early 2023.
Yeah, I don't
You
really.
know?
What I'm saying is, I don't really believe anybody believed that. But the
No,
moral
I
of my
suppose
story
not.
is it doesn't matter what the fuck they believed, right? The market screwed them anyway. Right?
The market rallied anyway, yeah. The market
Correct.
rallied anyway, and really, it became probably midway through December. It became really clear that the market was just going to price into the upside as much as it could before we actually get a rate cut. And so we're up. Yeah, it's going to be 6 or 7 rate cuts. Up. Keep going, and then we get Jerome. Actually, we're not doing March.
Yeah,
And
which he never said they were going to do to begin with, but yeah.
right, exactly. And
But
now you're
listen,
gonna,
if the economy, the whole thing with the stock market is everybody wants to say, okay, stock market's going up because the bond market's going up and rates are going down and all this. But the truth is, we don't know that that's the case. Maybe the stock market's going up because the economy is strong as shit. That's how it used to work, right? That's how it works sometimes.
the U.S. economy is doesn't look too bad at all, man.
I would say no, it doesn't.
Jobs are kind of tightening, but it really doesn't look bad at all. I mean,
Right.
there's
So
nothing there to
maybe
go
that's why
selling
maybe
on.
that's why the stock market's going up. Maybe it has nothing to do with the whole rate expectation thing. Maybe it's going up because this AI shit is going to be the greatest productivity enhancer in the history of mankind. I don't know. I always I don't even I can't even
All right.
spell I can't
Take-
even spell AI.
All
But
right, take it easy there, horse.
I'm
All
not
right.
saying that that's the case. I'm saying we won't know until later.
We
Right?
won't know until later, until the chart's 10x.
And I will say that I don't hear a lot of people make that argument, other than on a very sort of basic thing. I mean, clearly NVIDIA is making that argument, but I hear more cynics of that idea than anything else. And I still have, I have to say, in my desk somewhere, an article that was written by, I think I've told you, but I think it was the Morgan Stanley telecom analyst. It was the highest rated telecom analyst in the world at the time when the iPhone came out. And his conclusion was like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not a game changer,
Yeah. Okay.
which is
Fair enough.
exactly what it was, right?
Oh
Game
man,
changers-
absolutely.
Game changers happen when people don't see them, right? To me. So I don't know. I'm not saying that AI does all that shit. I'm saying I have no idea because I don't even know what the hell it means. I still don't understand what's the difference between AI and just using a computer. Like I don't
Well,
really-
in that the computer has a neural network, if you like, of self-learning.
I
So
get
okay. So
That's
I
great,
don't
but-
think AI is where it's where people think it's at.
But everyone says that. I don't think AI is where people think it's at. So if everybody thinks that it's not where people think it's at, then maybe it's under discounted. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. To me, it's all a bunch of bullshit.
No, I think it's overpriced in at the moment. I honestly do. I think it's overpriced in, but
Okay.
the way things go is that the street isn't going to be in the know of where AI is actually at versus where it's gonna be. And yeah, I think it's going to destroy a lot of like private equity backed early stage companies that were founded in a non-AI affluent sort of world. I think there's a lot of layoffs to happen. I honestly do. I think it's going to have a huge impact on labor force before it has a hugely positive impact on the man on the streets life, unfortunately, because these companies are deploying very sophisticated large learning language modules, or LLMs, I think they call them, like ChatGPT, right? But I haven't got a ChatGPT. Personal one that runs this house, or runs my business, or so you kind of need a pretty beefy tech team and a stack to deploy an LLM, right? So all these corporations are going to be benefiting from pretty advanced AIs, but the man on the street is just going to have to make do with image enhancing AIs and video editing AIs and, scheduling and planning and dinner booking AIs and holiday booking AIs and all this bullshit.
Okay, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I have a pretty deep technology background. I had a couple of software companies in the past, one in the oil and gas space. And yeah, especially in the oil and gas space, like we would go to these companies, large household name companies, and we talked to them about their tech stack and did some consulting a couple of times. And we would go in and they'd be like, can you look at this piece of tech and software that we have? We just really want to update it. And it's like, we'd like your system to integrate into it. And then my boys would have a look at the system and they'd be like, that thing is like is running on a thread and it hasn't been properly updated for 30 years. And when we were like, right, well, we need to rebuild this whole thing, they're like, oh, well, no, we can't do that. And we're asking, well, why? And they're like, well, it works and it's not broken. Do you think all these big enterprises run on like, James Bond, Jason Bourne, Mission Impossible, AI, super advanced computer systems, but they run on very clunky old systems that have proven themselves to be unbreakable?
Seems like me.
Exactly. So I don't know. I just think it's going to be a long haul for AI.
Okay.
I'll buy a nice pullback on NVIDIA.
One of those ever happens.
Yeah, I know. I think I said that at $300.
No, exactly. You and everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, Nathan coming out with his 500 call, that was a good call.
I would say, except he didn't actually fucking do it.
Yeah.
He gives his disclosures of the trades that he actually does, and that never showed up. So it's even more painful.
I know, more for him. Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I thought I'd get on here and just show my amazement at how the market really just got itself all worked up into this high. And then, whoa, big surprise, there's no March cut. And I think we get to the one after and it might still hang in the balance. This economy is hot.
We could go the whole freaking year and not have a rate cut. But again, what does that mean?
Can you imagine?
I mean, the opposite side of people, then the bears like to say, well, if we're getting aggressive rate cuts, that's not good news either, because it means that the economy is freaking crashing, and that's why we're getting aggressive rate cuts, and that's not good for stocks. Okay, well,
No.
what if it's the other side? If we weren't to get any rate cuts by the end of the year, what does that mean? Doesn't that mean that the economy is booming, and shouldn't that be good for stocks?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you're going to argue to me that aggressive rate cuts could be bad for stocks because it means the economy is crashing, then you have to be able to argue that if we don't get any rate cuts, it's because the economy is booming and that's good for stocks. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm just saying that's a thought process. And I've been on this kind of idea for way too long, that I wouldn't really looking to be short stocks until the narrative switched to that, right? Once the narrative switches to, oh, actually, there is no recession. Actually, the economy is booming, and that's why the stock market's going up. Well, then I'll be looking. Then I'll be looking to short.
Yeah.
But I don't know that narrative has changed just yet. I still think they're still, as we saw from yesterday's price action, they're still on the narrative of lower rates is what it's all about right now. And I got a feeling that narrative just has to change before it's really a sustainable short in the stock market.
I suspect that the narrative will get changed for them. That you're seeing these strikes in Iran now, and Syria agreed at the White House, in retaliation for killing those 3 soldiers in the Middle East. I think on the weekend, the Houthis blowing up Trafigura's oil shipment. I just think that maybe the war risk or some sort of black swan event pops up, and I think it's the more likely. Some sort of black swan event would pop up between now and December that would put the skits on the market, and then the Fed go, all right, we're down 12% on the week, we're down 20% on the month or on the year. All right, fine. Let's
and the Fed put comes in, right?
Do a double cut.
Can war in the Middle East right now, okay, be a black swan event?
No, I don't mean.
If some fucking
I said
bomb went off in half an hour, would you be surprised? I'm surprised that it hasn't gone off yet. If anything, the black swan means that they haven't done anything yet.
I'm saying that or a black swan. So yeah, a bomb in the Middle East. Yeah, that's That's not an anomaly, right? So
Especially not now. I mean, is that like a big surprise here? Like, I don't get it. I don't even. I saw today they announced something. Like, who does this? They announced that U.S. approves plans for strikes in Iraq, Syria. CBS News.
yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Yeah.
Okay, who fucking does that? We never see headlines, Iraq approves plans for strikes on, you know what I mean? Like, what? How do you announce that you're approving plans to strike? Like, what?
Because you got to get the people on board with the idea. Did you okay? Did you see what happened on the bond auction yesterday? They increased the ask or the amount available from 101 bill to 121 billion on the bonds, all the strip except the 20 years. You know what that says to me? They need war money. They need a bit of cash.
That's all the U.S. ever needs is war money.
War bonds, man.
Yes, correct.
It's just an increase on the amount that they want to sell.
Okay.
And that to me seems to be what kicked off this move that we're getting an extension on today. There was yeah. So
the fact that they increased the amount of bonds they want to sell kicked off the upside move in bonds?
Well, there was basically a huge barcode on the tape when that dropped. It was about actually no, that was 7 yesterday. When was this? I think it was no, actually I don't have. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So the fact they increase supply means that the price goes up. That's the fundamental.
There seems to be a strong appetite for it. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's
it probably has to do with the fact that
guy.
Fucking banks are about to freaking blow up, and therefore they know that they have to come and bail them out, and that's a flight to bonds type of thing. I think, but who knows?
You can buy these. Well, actually, the bank program is coming to a close now, but you could have bought the bonds on any yield, and you get it marked to market or marked to purchase rather than marked to market for however long you want. So it's just a safe
accounting scams. I get it, but
yeah, basically run by the U.S. government.
At the end of the day, you've only got where are we? February now. You've only got about 10 months because in 10 months our man's going to get in office and he's going to solve it all, man. He's going to shut it all down. He's going to bring the money home so that we can make sure no smelly immigrants come in our freaking country anymore. And
are you talking about Donnie here?
Yeah,
drain the swamp.
Yeah, he's going to drain the swamp. He's going to solve all the global
I have a Trump hat somewhere.
Problems. He's going to solve all the geopolitical problems, and everything's going to go straight up because of that. So, I mean,
that's true.
And I'm being sarcastic, but the truth is, if you just cut defense spending in this country by 50%, you'd have more money than you knew what to freaking do with. Defense spending, I think, is the number one expenditure in this country. Although I think maybe interest payments, maybe you're catching up pretty quickly here.
It's funny, it's the biggest spending in a couple of other countries as well, as in the amount of money that you guys gave Ukraine that just goes back into US production of arms that then get sent over there. So.
Yes, it's all, that's what the US is, man.
Well, hold on. I forgot you guys are broke though, aren't you?
The military,
your government
complex.
That's right, man. They're watching you right now.
Just ask Russell Brand. He knows.
Look, I could easily go down this rabbit hole, man. Who was it? Carter? Eisenhower. Eisenhower warned against the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, well, nobody heeded it because that's what runs this fucking country now. I just did my taxes, man. It's unbelievable the amount of taxes as a percentage of my income that gets paid out. It's criminal.
52% effective.
It's criminal.
It's all subjective, but yeah, you can pay up to 52% tax.
Yes, it's criminal. And it all goes to,
killing Palestinians.
No, it all goes to, making $2 million bombs to take out a $2,000 drone.
Yeah, pretty much. But, America seems to be happy with it right now.
They are? They're about to fucking elect Donald Trump. I don't think that's a happy group of people.
Yeah, I'm only stirring things up there.
I don't think that a happy group of people elects Donald Trump. I think, a frustrated group of people elect Donald Trump. That's what I think.
Frustrated people. Well,
yeah, people are sick of it. So.
Well, absolutely, man. I mean, look, I think it's really easy for non-Americans to comment on US, political goings-ons, but I don't know too many of those people who love to rag on Trump. I don't know too many of those people who've actually even spent time in the States or understand the magnitude of problem over there at the moment with the illegal immigration coming in on the southern borders. The military industrial complex level of spend. Here's what I want to say to people who are just like, oh, Trump, he's such a nasty person, blah, blah, blah. And, that Hillary Clinton, she's just so lovely and blah, blah, blah.
Hillary Clinton,
Like,
not lovely.
they're all, for base case, they're all dickheads.
Yes.
Second thing, wake the hell up, because the Democrats are actually the scummiest of the lot. They sell you democracy and they fuck you around the back. And that's what I've seen from American politics. And I have spent a lot of time in the States, and I have American family.
I mean, I personally believe that they're all scumbags. So Democrat, Republican, it doesn't make a difference to me. They're all on equal footing of scum. How you can come up with these two people as the two people that you have a choice from? I mean, how is that?
But that's kind of an echo, though, of where the world is now. I read a couple of articles over the last couple of years where there's just this dearth of leadership. No one wants to take a lead. No one wants to stand up. No one wants to put their head above the parapet, and get shot. Everyone just wants to toe the party line, and just zombie their way along.
People are so scared of Donald Trump and the Republican Party. They all have to go back him, because if they don't back him, he bullies them. You know what I mean? He starts ripping into them, and then because he controls so much of the base, he can knock him right out of office. I don't know. If it were me, which it never would be, and I were a Republican and I wanted to run for office, I feel like somebody should just get up there and be like, look, here I am. I'm 50 years old. Okay. I'm not 85. All right. I'm 50. I want to do all these things. He can do all of Donald Trump's policies for all I care about. I want to kill all the Mexicans, and I want to do whatever. Come up with all the radical Donald Trump policies that you want to say, right? And say, so vote for me, not Donald fucking Trump, who at the end of the day, you can agree with his policies. It's very difficult to say that he's a decent human being. Okay. So here you go. I'm a decent human being. Vote for me. I'm going to do all these same policies. Fuck him. Somebody should at least come out and say that. They might not work and they might get crushed and all that, but to me, there should be at least one person coming out and saying that. And that guy Vivek could have done it, but he didn't. He came back and he backed Donald Trump the whole way. He actually had some more radical policies than Trump had. I loved it. He was fucking coming up with some of the craziest fucking shit. I loved it. But
he was good, but he didn't have the base. He didn't have that base.
Which is why he kissed up to Donald Trump. They all kiss up to him. It's just like any bully, man. They always say the way to solve a bully is punch him in the nose, right? But no one has the nutsack to do it. So what are you going to do? So we're going to end up with either him or Joe Biden, and there we go.
Yeah, but we had a presidential election to potentially get rid of our current president, and a couple of years ago, and the candidates they put up, man, the candidates, it was a comedy show. Like, the guy who's currently president is a lifetime politician, spent a lot of time in the arts as well, an extremely well-read, loves the arts, but a career politician. And the guy is just incredible. He's a great guy, and he's just an amazing guy. And then we have these businessmen done well who fancy the idea, but really don't have a clue about politics, and they couldn't tell you which way to trade the bonds. It was just a joke. The amount of people that tried to get in there, and it ended up about 5 different candidates against this guy, and the president stayed where he was, but because these guys were a joke. But what that underlined to me, and what really that opened my eyes to, was in a lot of places, both in corporations and in governments, there's just no suitable leadership, because the amount of people that have left that have integrity, and experience, they're off doing something else, and they do not want these jobs. Like a friend of mine, he has a very senior role. A friend of mine has a very senior role in Instagram, and I went out. I think we were we were surfing or something one day. Can't remember what we were doing. We were chatting, and he was talking about work and how it was just a bit of a pain in the balls at the moment. And I was like, well, what's going on? He's like, well, we have this like manager who just hasn't got a clue what's going on. And then he kind of comes in, calls a meeting. He says, I want this, this, and this. And then we all have to go off. And instead of saying what we really think in the meeting, we all kind of say it to each other. And then we kind of just placate this guy and do what we're doing anyway. Like, what sort of a leadership structure is that?
That's how the world works, isn't it?
It's fucked, man. You know?
There's nothing new there. Have you ever worked for a company? There's nothing new there.
No, I understand. But it's...
Don't rock the boat, as they say.
Don't rock the boat. Get the fuck. No.
I mean, that's why I'm sitting right here trying to make a living, because I could never.
Me too, man.
I can't survive in a world like that, unfortunately. Life would be a
Me
lot
too.
easier. Life would be a lot easier if I could.
These companies don't want boat rockers, man. Just get in there, in the door. Don't say a word. Just fucking toe the line. Let's go.
My first job was with HSBC, and that was a big line at HSBC. Don't rock the boat. And meanwhile, I was 22 at the time, so you could imagine what I was like at 22 if I'm like this at 50,
Yeah.
right? And that was the whole big line, don't rock the boat. Meanwhile, when I joined that company, just after I joined it, because Asia exploded, HSBC was the single largest bank in the world for a while. And don't rock the boat, those fucking people ran that company into the fucking ground, from being the biggest bank in the world to just being a piece of shit now, right? They ran that company into the fucking ground, man.
I think they got fined $3 billion for laundering Mexican cartel money.
No, and that's even the funny part too, is it was like, oh, don't rock the boat, don't rock the boat. Oh, so I shouldn't mention that the fucking two guys at the top of this company are doing nothing but fucking laundering money. You know, the chairman at the time was Willie Purvis, and we were all supposed to follow the rules and follow the rules. They had GYM, they called it, group instruction manual, and everything was about GYM. Any question you had, you went to the gym and you checked what you were supposed to do. And meanwhile, Willie Purvis was, freaking banging fucking prostitutes with his buddy Packer down in Australia. And loaning them fucking billions and billions of dollars from HSBC, which he ended up losing all of because Packer ended up being a piece of shit, right? So yeah, we all follow Jim, but you can go do whatever the hell you want, right? And they did the same thing of what you're talking about. Yeah, everybody has to go follow Jim, but you guys can go, launder fucking Mexican drug cartel money all you want, right? It's such crap, and that's why they want you to toe the line, right? Because they don't want you to know what they're actually doing. Toe the line until you get to the top, and then do whatever the fuck you want, and make sure everybody else toes the line, so they don't figure out what you're doing, right? So whatever. The point is, they ran that company into the ground from the biggest bank in the world to just shit. They totally ran it into the ground.
I don't know. In Ireland, it's kind of a weird slip there. Basically, Google employ a ton of people in Ireland, as do LinkedIn, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. All of the big tech guys employ lots of people here. And so there's all these jobs going in Google, right? And the first wave of people who worked for Google in Ireland actually had share option agreements. So when they floated, there was actually quite a few millionaires created in Ireland. The same thing with Facebook, right? And that's for the early, first 100 employees, maybe 200 in Facebook, right? But then as time went on, Ireland cut a really nice tax agreement with Google and Facebook and a few others, right? But let's just look at Google, right? So they said, the government said, listen, we have this, what's it called? The IDA, Irish Development Authority. These guys are and I've had dealings with these guys, and I'm glad I was on the inside, right? But they are amazing. They are the guys who are like, it is a government agency. They were the guys who said, Zuckerberg's looking for EMEA headquarters. They're like, fuel the government jet. Actually, they have their own jet. They're like, fuel the jet. We're going to fly out to Menlo, pick up Zucky and the boys, and we're going to take them on a tour of Ireland for 4 days. They flew them in, entertainment, coke and hookers, a lot. I don't know. But either which way, they got the deal for EMEA headquarters for Google and Facebook and all that. Anyway, point being is that these guys are like the Irish mafia. They are everywhere and anywhere in the world. And if you are Irish and you need to do business, they are the people to talk to. And this is one of the strong bows of the Irish government, I reckon. But they recently had the head guy on Bloomberg, and he's regularly on CNBC and stuff. But the point being is that they struck a deal with Google and they said, all right, if you employ X amount of people, something like, I don't know, 8,000 people, we will give you back a certain amount of their wages in a tax break. And so Google said, great. And next thing, Google go on this hiring spree. And you're looking at all these crazy listed jobs of like, office experience manager for Dublin, head of, blow dries at the salon in Dublin, all these stupid title jobs. And you got all these people in Dublin who have these like very sort of, no one really knows what they do. And to be honest, I don't think they do much. Their job only serves as a piece of the tax break to get off the Irish government. Meanwhile, you got these kids floating around thinking that they're fucking Einstein and they're the next Zuckerberg. And in reality, they're just a unit on a tax break sheet. It's crazy, but that's what's going on. So it's a little bomb drop for the Irish listeners.
It works, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it creates taxes, keeps people out of trouble. It's great.
Keeps people employed.
I don't know. I'm going off on one there anyway.
Keeps them from blowing each other up.
There's none of that here anymore.
That's what I'm saying, because they're all working.
That was never in the South, man. That was in the North.
I know.
You're going to have to get your wife on camera here. She's going to have to get you back in check on this one.
I know. Irish people get very mad when you say that shit. I watch too much.
I can tell she's not in the room. I can tell.
Or whatever the name of that show was.
That's in bloody Liverpool and Manchester, man. That's not even in Ireland.
I know, but they're Irish guys.
Yeah, I suppose they are Irish, yeah.
Yeah, and they had some dealings in Northern Ireland and whatnot. But anyway, whatever. It's great. Yeah. It's a lovely country filled with green hills.
I like it, and I'm looking at a few other places.
I'm ready to move there. So
you're ready to move? I don't know. Yeah, maybe if there's summer, man. I don't think you're going to like the winters.
Better than here. No worse than here.
I suppose you're about the same latitude as we are, or was it longitude?
Yeah, no, that's right. That's why. It's funny. I noticed that all over America a lot. All the Irish came to New England because it's like, it's right there with Ireland.
Same latitude or longitude.
Well, it's so funny. All the Norsemen, they all live in Minnesota. All the people that came from Norway and all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
They all live in Minnesota.
Because they can't be too far away from the ice.
Yeah, which is like the coldest place in the country. They all went there. I mean, the football team is the Minnesota Vikings,
Yeah. Even looking on a map gives me a shiver.
Yeah, so it's funny how people do that kind of thing. So yeah, we got all the Irishmen over here in New England.
Not enough.
Clearly not enough.
When the one in the White House is doing a shit poor job at the moment, so I think we're about to revoke his Irish ancestry. He's doing such a bad job at the moment. But
I think that what's going to end up happening on that whole thing, personally, is starting in about if the polls continue the way that they're doing, we're going to get to about August, September, and they're going to slot somebody else in. He's gonna say he's not running again, and they're going to slot someone else in because Trump is maybe that guy from California or something, whatever his name is.
Dwayne Johnson.
No, Newsom or whatever that guy's name is. I don't know.
Newsom.
I don't pay close.
The Rock, no. The Rock for president.
There you go. He'll fucking straighten shit out.
You know who everyone would love to see in there?
Who?
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah.
Get him in there. Everything would be all right.
I wouldn't love that. I mean, if they really wanted to just do it, they would convince frickin' Obama's wife to do it, and she would win in a landslide. But she won't do it because she knows what it's like to be part of that, and she don't want to be a part of it. She has no interest in being a part of it.
She has a life to live, man. And, I mean, there's only so many years on the clock, right?
That's right. She doesn't want to deal with it. But she would win in a landslide, if you ask me. And that's not an endorsement. It's just what I think is a statistical fact. But I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to get enough down the line.
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
And they're just going to replace him with somebody else. Because most of the other people actually poll that they're going to beat Trump. So, at first they're going to try to get him in jail, obviously. And if they can't get him...
Haley's like polling it.
No, I'm saying almost any other Democrat polls ahead of Trump from what I've seen. So they're going to slip somebody else in there, They'll put him on stage or something like that, and he'll say something that shows that he's clearly, not capable, and that will set it down the path of he has to be replaced. Like, could they even do a debate right now with him?
No way, man, no way.
That's what I'm thinking.
No way.
I don't really think he can get through a debate.
He would get annihilated, man. That would be it. Over. Done.
Right. So I think that they do that. Put him in a debate, let him get annihilated, and then come out the next week and say, you know what, he's done. We're putting in somebody else. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen, because
You know what I think is going to happen?
these people will do anything, clearly anything, to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't become president of the United States.
You know what I think is going to happen?
What's
I've
that?
talked about this a little bit before. Is that we're going to carry on with this, Trump train all the way through. It's just going all the way through to December and 2025, I think, right? Or Q1 2025, the Trump train will be just roaring. But it's going to get to about August, and yeah, the Democrats are going to have to pull something fresh out of the bag, a last minute hero. It'll be Tom Cruise for president for the Democrats, whatever, right? Whoever it is, and they're going to try and stuff that down everyone's throats. And then I think they're going to try and announce a Democratic win on November 22nd. And America is not going to accept it. The other side, the other 50 or 48.9 or 49.9%, they're not going to accept it. They're not going to accept a Trump loss. And I think that is going to be January 6th Capitol riots times 20 will kick off. That's my thesis.
No, let's get it on, man. I'm all
good
about
old boys are going to come out of the woodwork, and something's going to happen. I don't know. It's just
I'm all about it. I really am. I'm all about it. I am personally of the when it comes to my cynicism about all of this shit. What I really want is Donald Trump to be thrown in jail and then to win the election from jail. I think that would be the perfect scenario for all this. I think that would be great. They get him in jail and he wins the election anyway from behind bars. To me, that would be fucking wonderful, because then you would have a complete shit show. I'm also become apparently an extreme feminist, because I will only vote from now on for women.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I only vote for women. And in the last election, I voted for a woman for president because they happened to have a woman running in my party, so I did vote for a woman in the last one. And I argue with all my my ultra liberal friends, when they want to call me a conservative and this, I go, listen, I'm the only one in this room that voted for a woman for president, man. So you can all fucking fuck off, right? All you Elizabeth Warren fans and all that, you didn't vote for a woman for president. I did. But yeah, I only will vote. That's my new political mantra. I will only vote for women from now on.
If this is a ploy of yours to kind of boost your Tinder numbers, it's probably going to work.
It's a fact. I just think that 95 at least % of men's decision making, is starts from below the belt, man. You know what I mean? And
sure.
And women don't do that. You know what I mean? Women don't have that over sexual desire. They don't have testosterone, right? And I think men have too much.
Last time I checked,
right?
You can't be sure at the moment, though. You got to double check.
No, and men have too much of it, and so therefore, I think that women are the ones that should be fucking running the world. They had that video came out a few weeks ago of some guy who worked in the Senate. He was like a Senate aide or something like that, and he was a gay guy, and he went into one of like the meeting rooms in the Senate and had sex with his boyfriend and filmed it, and it was on the internet.
I saw that.
Women don't do that, man. They don't feel the desire or the need to do that. You know what I mean? Only men do that. Like, what the fuck? And I'm a man, and I get it, okay? But women don't. I
haven't done that for a long time now. Have sex in the Senate.
At least a few weeks, right? And filmed it and put it on the internet for everyone to see. Like, what? Women don't do that. And people that are working in the government don't need to be doing that shit, man. And women don't have that desire. So I'm only voting for women from now on, man. That's maybe that Barbie movie changed me. I don't know, but
we've had 2 women presidents in Ireland, and we probably have a third before the end of the decade, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's about time. It's about time for us to have. You got to find the right woman. I would never have voted for Hillary Clinton because I didn't particularly like her at all. But I just think that the whole world should be run by women and mothers. Even more importantly, mothers don't feel the need to go around the world and blast the shit out of other fucking human beings, man.
That's right.
Like men do. So
I know. I mean, just preaching to the choir here, man.
Look
at the bonds up, T-notes up, just shy of 0.6% here. Highs.
Bonds are up 2 full points today. 2 full points after yesterday.
And look at gold. Nice trail behind. That was thank you for that advice. Gold as the short leg on that. Should have taken the bloody trade, but just was lazy about working out. To be honest, I was just lazy about working out the hedge ratio. So what a beauty.
It's funny. The dollar's up, gold's up.
I think the dollar's going to have a dip and drive.
All these correlations have gone to shit because bonds are ripping.
Totally gone to shit. Yeah.
Yet the dollar's up. The dollar's up. Yet gold's up. Bonds are ripping 2 days in a row. Yet stocks are down.
So I lost a bit of money 2 years ago trading this dollar gold thing, right? And then I saw a lot of these weird moves on gold, bonds, and dollar, and I was like, what's going on here? And then someone opened my eyes, and they're like, no, gold is reacting to the real yield, not the dollar. So
but the dollar should be reacting to the real yield too. That's why the correlation is theoretically supposed to be there, because the dollar should react to it as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's above my pay grade. That leg of it.
I'm just saying it's the same trade. I'm not saying gold goes up because the dollar goes down. I'm saying gold goes up and the dollar goes down for the same fucking reason. Right?
Yeah, but there are times where it's dollar up, gold down, like tick for tick, done.
Like today.
But hey, correlations, they work until they don't.
Yeah, well, I don't really trade based off of that very much. That's all fine for me. I mean, silver was down when I woke up this morning, 40 something cents, and now it's basically flat. It's actually rebounded 50 cents off the low. It looks like.
Yeah, it's gonna have to follow gold, man.
Pretty decent move, 50 cents in silver.
Oh, I don't ever look at silver futures. Actually, I think I got really excited about buying it at 24s. Went to 27s. No, actually, I don't think it even had that much of a run, and then it just died. And I was like, all right, I'm out of here. It just went sideways for like 2 months, and I was like, all right, done.
Russell
this wasn't
too. I was thinking about the Russell this week because I hate the Russell here. I think it's going to be the worst.
Hate it?
Yeah, I think
it's the short.
No, I hate it. I think it's a short. I think it's going to be the worst performing index this year. Again. But I was thinking about it. You think about what the Russell does. So it's a small cap index, right? So if a company is successful and grows from small cap to large cap, it gets kicked out of the Russell. So essentially they kick out all the companies that are successful and they keep all the companies that suck, right?
It's the B team, man.
It's the exact opposite of what a trader is supposed to do, right? What do they say? You're cutting your roses, and how's that line go?
I'm not familiar with that.
Cutting your roses and watering your weeds or something like that, right?
I like it. I've never heard that one.
That's exactly what the Russell does. They sell their winners by definition, right? Because if the company is winning and gets too big, they got to kick them out. So they're selling the winners and they're keeping their losers. That's what the Russell index does. Like, what if you wonder why it underperforms?
Well, surely it should be pretty easy to see what the valuation cap should average then.
Okay.
No, if it's that simple, but. We're talking trading here.
I'm sure it's that simple, but all I'm saying is over time, the S&P does the opposite. When a company goes to shit, the Dow or the S&P, right? They kick them out, right? And they replace it with companies that are doing well. Whereas the Russell kicks out the ones that are doing well and keeps the ones that are doing shit.
I hear what you're saying. Fundamentally, it sounds like something I wouldn't want to be part of.
Whose side would you rather be on?
I haven't traded the Russell. I think I traded it once. Funny enough, I loaded it up or last year for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah. Oh yeah, because I was reading articles about how when we're on a bull run, or when we dip, it actually rips percentile wise way more than the others rip. That's why I pulled it up. But I haven't looked at it.
I hate it. I hate the Russell. And truthfully, it was the only index that was down last month. But it's like the most. Again, stock-wise, that's the most consensus trade I hear all day is you got to roll out of the tech and roll into the Russell. That's what I hear every fucking day. And it ain't going to work, man. It just ain't going to work.
What's traditionally the anti-tech, the roll out of tech and get into trade? Is it
small caps? That's what it is.
It's just
energy, healthcare.
Energy. No, it's energy. It's energy. Yeah.
Energy, healthcare, and
because of that, you do see this weird correlation effect between tech and energy I've noticed. But yeah. I don't really get that trade. Oh, great one, Yoda, market wizard of the world. Please explain to me why oil or energy is correlated to the Nasdaq. I've never understood that.
It's not.
Okay. People have told me, and I've seen it with my own eyes.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I have no clue.
Okay.
I could sit here and make arguments if you want, but they would just be stupid.
Well, no, let's not do that. I mean, I unfortunately I could do that myself all day too
Right.
easily.
Yeah, I'm sure I could make some shit up, but I mean, what for? Silly.
No, but remember a couple of years ago, someone said that to me, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then they're like, "Look at this. Just pay attention to it." And I did, and there was a little correlation in there, and I was like, "What is that?" I don't know. I'll have to get a quant one day to do something about that for me. But all right, man. Well, one thing I did want to talk about to finish off is how much do we need to reprice here? I mean, if you're saying that we're up, Santa Rally, everything we're up here because the economy's good, not on cut expectations, well then
I'm
we
not
don't really
saying that's
need to
what it is.
reprice down that much.
No, I'm not saying that's
but,
what. I'm saying it's something you have to consider if you're bearish as a possibility.
Well,
I
that's
don't,
well, so that's what I want to talk
I don't
about.
know anything, man. I'm just looking at possibilities of where I'm going.
No. I'm gonna print a full 2-page spread in the Financial Times tomorrow, and it'll say Jason Shapiro thinks that this is gonna happen. He said that this is gonna happen.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm only joking with you, man. We're just talking.
I think that if you want to be short, that's fine. You be short Russell. That's what I think. That would be my advice. And that
Take
trade,
the run to the litter.
and that trade is working, has been working, and continues to work. So forget about what I say. The market is saying it as well, right? And to me, the reason I'm saying it is it makes sense to me from a positioning, from a contrarian point of view. That's the place to be. And like I always say, it's one thing to have an opinion, and it's another thing for the market to confirm that opinion. Well, that's an opinion, and the market is confirming it. So to me, you want to be short Russell. I know you want to be short NASDAQ because that's where, the speculation.
That's where the sexiness is.
That's where the overvaluation is, and that's where all the ridiculous NVIDIA and blah, blah, blah is. And I get that. But personally, I would be short Russell.
I'll leave short in the NASDAQ to the next guy, man.
Yes. Be short. Like you said, be short the run, man.
I just pulled it up there. The breadth on the day yesterday was obviously negative, but it was a 3.2% breadth on the day, top to bottom. 3.2%. Jesus. That's about 1.9 right now. Yikes. Jesus, maybe I will trade the Russell this week or next week. Let it have a little bounce and then just wallop it with my measly size. All right. Short the Russell. Jason said.
If you're looking to be short the Russell. That's what I'm saying.
I think the trade now is going to become bid into all of these people who are coming bearish into this shit. I think that sounds like the fade.
These fucking bonds, man. Apparently there's a shortage of bonds. Like, this is amazing.
Jesus, man. Up 0.7 now.
1.7. The fucking long bond, the 30-year bond's up 2.25 points, dude. The 5 years are up 16. Like, what? I love it, but I love it. Let it go. And stocks can't get a bid on that.
Where's the yield on the 10 there?
I don't know. I only have
price. You don't have it in front of you?
I only have price. I don't have yield. You like to deal in yield. I like to deal in price.
No, I don't like to deal in yield. So I actually traditionally always kind of just look at price. And actually with bonds, I just actually technically just look at the pattern and like, all right, a lot of the time I don't even look at the actual price. I don't pay too much attention to the price until I'm actually in the trade.
Right.
I don't know. Look at gold here. It's having a nice bid out of the lows on the day there.
Well, yeah.
Strong. The force is strong. And the dollar's coming down here. Something's kicking off.
Interest rates are going like on their way to zero here, man. Gold's got to go up. Gold has to go up, man, if interest rates are going to zero. So, and we've had a lot of the length taken out of gold in the last couple of months. So it's got a much better opportunity to hold this time.
Yeah, U.S. Defense Secretary Austin is talking here as well.
Blow people up, yo!
Run for the bunker.
We got to get old school, man. Blow up brown people, you fuckers. That's what they love to do.
And yeah. Well, on that note, I mean, I think it's been nice to know the public version of Jason, but after today, I think it just got cancelled right there. The VIX, any comments on the VIX? How fucking low this thing is, and how it's just gonna illustrate the whole incoming risk picture, and it's gonna print 20s by June. Any comments on that?
I mean, the VIX is the stock market, right? If the stock market's going to go down, then the VIX is going to go up. I'm not a huge bear on the stock market. You know, I am not a long either, but I'm not a huge bear on the stock market. I'd rather be in, there's other trades that I would much rather be in, although I would be short the Russell. So in a way, that's a bear, right?
Oh, just actually, one last thing is you see in the positioning in oil, how they're like super crowded on the short.
You see that they are?
From the analysts I follow, John Camp and Reuters, yeah, he's talking about them. They were massively short, and then hedge funds flipped to massively long.
Yeah, I don't see it. The
But
only
it's still, but it's
position I
still,
see in any of the energy is that they're very, very long unleaded gas. That's the only big thing, and I think they're starting to get pretty short natural gas finally. And I haven't traded natural gas in a very long time. I watched it go down and down and down, and everybody try to pick the low and pick the low and pick the low all through, 2023 and 22 and 23. I watched them try to pick that bottom.
I was there. I was one of them.
And now though that Biden came out and said they're gonna not allow the export and all that shit. Now we're getting the bad news out. You know what I mean? Like the news couldn't be any worse for that. I think that's always been the hope of natural gas buyers is that, you'll be able to export it and all that shit. And he took that opportunity out. So now you have no possible good news whatsoever. So that starts to get me interested in wanting to get long, finally. So I'm not saying I'm getting long right here. I'm not, but I think we're getting pretty damn close in natural gas finally.
All right, man.
All right, brother. Take it easy. And
We'll be talking.
Vote for the women, man. Women power.
Women power.
We'll talk to you.
Talk to you later.